Hey, what's going on, guys? Mike here once again, bringing us another video. Now today we're talking about 5 reasons why we don't go after what we want. And you might be thinking to yourself, Mike, what are you talking about? I go after what I want all the time. No, not according to certain statistics. And yes, you as an individual are very significantly different. And I believe anybody who comes across this channel, and if you're watching this video, then you desire to go after what you actually want. And you might even be in the process of going after it as we speak right now. But there was a study done back in 2017, and this is an absolute fact. Now, there's a study done, and it was a consensus that was done over a period of several different years. And it wasn't reported until the year 2017. Now, this was just done within the United States, so I can't speak for the rest of the world, globally. But within the United States, less than 20% of Americans claimed that they were fulfilled. Now, they were going through many different areas: happiness, health, wealth, finances, career, relationships, all of these different areas, right? But in general, because they were talking about even family, meaningful family life, not fulfilled, career, they weren't fulfilled. And there was actually, so within that fact, that 20%, less than 20%, of Americans claim that they are fulfilled. So back in 2017, this study was done. If you're curious about it, I'll link it in the description, or you can just ask me about, where I learned this material from. But one of the writers and reporters, Ghosn, he points out, he or she, I'm not sure, that's the last name, but Ghosn points out, I think all of these factors are tied into a broader problem. It has to do with people not feeling that they have the control. Oh my gosh, that was so important, and I wrote that down on here because I do have my list of notes, and this is 5 reasons why we don't go after what we want. Most of us would lie to ourselves, guys. Honestly, most of us would lie to ourselves and say, oh, I'm in the relationship that I want. I'm making the amount of money that I want. It's good enough. And I'm going to get into some of these different reasons here in just one second. But truth be told is that most of these studies don't lie, and you can look them up for yourself. Most Americans are not fulfilled. And like I said, this just has to do with America. But I've read into different articles concerning the global scale that this can apply to, and the majority, it does apply to the majority. It's definitely greater than half. It's way greater than half that aren't fulfilled. And you can look this information up. So 5 reasons why we don't go after what we want in our health, relationships, finances, career, happiness, health, and wealth, all these areas, right? Let's jump right into this. So 5 reasons why we don't go after what we want. Number 1 is we're scared to stand out. Number 1 is because we're scared to stand out. How many of us are fearful of being judged for the truth that is in here? That relationship that seems too far out, that person that we don't want to dare branch out and tell our relatives and our family and our friends that I've decided to go after a different type of relationship and different type of job and different type of career because I'm not fulfilled. And we're scared of that judgment. We're scared of what our friends and family might think of us if we do branch out, because we're doing something drastically different than most people do. The majority of people are obviously settling, and if they're not settling, then there is a deeper problem. They feel like they're not in control. Most people don't feel like they're in control. I'm going to be dealing with the bugs. But anyway, number one, we're scared to stand out. That's pretty self-explanatory. We're scared of what others might think of us. We're scared of the possibility of that judgment, that if we do step out and we do be different, that we're almost alone. There's a sense that we're going to be alone in it. If we truly branch out and do what we want to do, there's this notion that we're doing it by ourselves, and if we're not, then we're scared of what others are really going to think of us, because we might have to cut off certain acquaintances and friends and move on to start our own lives. And I'm not saying like cut off family members by any means, but I'm just saying that we do fear that judgment. And you're gonna learn that most of these points tie into being fearful. They really, it's a state of fear, and it's a state of worry, and it's a state of doubt. What if it doesn't happen? What if it doesn't work out? Which leads me to my next point. So number 2 is we think it's not going to work. We think it's not going to work. We have preconceived notions in our mind that, man, Mike, if I go after this, it's the fear of failure. That is very real, and that's very real on a feeling level. I'm not undermining how anybody feels about this, because we are all affected. Because whenever we go after what we want, we're leaving our comfort zone. And if you are to have something different, then you have to first be different. If you keep doing the same things that you've always done, guess what? You're going to keep attracting the same results that you've always gotten, that you've always got. To open up the possibility of freedom for yourself. And if you really want to receive the things that you truly want, and that down in here, oh my gosh, this would lead to a great sense of fulfillment and happiness and joy, you're going to have to be okay with being uncomfortable. We have a predetermined outcome in our minds. We also have the fear of success. What if it does work out and I'm not able to maintain that? What if it does work out and what do I do now? Like, oh my gosh, Mike, I've reached this goal, this great goal that I have in mind for myself, and now I'm scared of how to maintain it. Like, I don't want to lose it now. It's the fear of loss. And like I said, guys, all of these are going to tie into fear in some aspect. All the things I talk about in this video are going to be because of fear. So, and just like that writer pointed out. Now, I'm going to read this one more time. Just like that writer pointed out, I think all of these factors are tied in together into a broader problem. It's the problem that people believe that they don't have control, because a lot of people feel trapped. And I've talked with many people, like in real life, like face to face, many different individuals about topics like these, and they claim they know, and they're honest about it. They're honest about it. Mike, I'm not fulfilled, but I'm scared to leave because it's so comfortable. And you're right. That's why I keep hearing, Mike, you're right. So why aren't we changing it? We have to muster up the faith to change this, because if we don't change it, guys, I would totally take a video of the spider. But that was actually really creepy. And it's not Halloween yet, but I just saw a medium-sized spider, pretty large, actually spin up a web. Now it's a good distance away from me, or else I'd be moving right now. Yeah, spiders kind of freak me out. See, I would say that's a worthy fear. I would say that that's a worthy fear. But guys, we have a predetermined outcome. We also have this preconceived notion that it's not going to matter anyway, and that's a process that we go through called rationalization. And if you break that word apart, it's actually rationing lies to your mind. It's rationing lies to yourself. It truly is. You know, fear of success, we already talked about that. What if it does work out? What if it does work out and then I'm not able to maintain it? Guys, I've been there. Probably you guys have too, where you stepped out and you did do something different and you thought that you had it. You thought that you had it all figured out, and then life punches you in the throat and throws up different barriers, and you have to continually break the terror barriers. You have to continually break these chains that are holding us back. It's not like a one-time deal. And that's why a lot of people, I believe, don't do it, because they feel like they are not in control of this. They have these preconceived notions that, like, even if I do get it, no matter what, this is going to happen next, you know? But see, that's all fear-based. That's not faith-based. That's fear-based. So moving on to number 3. So the 5 reasons why we don't go after what we want. Number 1, we're scared to stand out. Number 2, we think it's not going to work. So moving on to number 3. Number 3 is we've made a habit of playing it safe. Oh my gosh, this one is so crucial. We've made a habit of playing it safe. I've discussed it in previous videos many times. Where there is no risk, there is no possibility of a reward. And typically, the larger the risk, the larger the possibility of that reward. Now, I say the possibility of that reward because there are no guarantees in life. And many people get tripped up right there, is that they want a guarantee. If they're to take a risk, then they want to be guaranteed something. And guys, there's no guarantees in life at all. So we have to have resolve with that. We must have resolve with that. And we must be willing to understand that this might not work out. You have to be okay with that. You have to be okay with possibly failing there. We are our repeated behaviors. We've made a habit out of playing it safe. If you're used to sticking around in your comfort zone, sticking around at that job that you know that's not fulfilling, but you're comfortable making that amount of money. You're comfortable where you're living. But is that really what you want? Is that really what's in here? Ask yourself, guys, is that really what you want? And if it's not, you create different goals for yourself, because we are our repeated behaviors and thoughts and feelings, and whatever we feel, we attract more of into our life. I'm going to say it again. In order to have something different, one must first be different. One must first become different. They must become a different person entirely, because your behaviors, your actions have to shift. They have to change. For you to attract anything different than you are currently attracting, your life's going to have to change. You're going to have to change your behaviors. Sometimes it'll take radical change. But see, that's the comfort zone. Most of us are just so comfortable in that relationship, and there's nothing against that. But at the same time, the statistics here aren't lying. Less than 20% of Americans claim that they're unfulfilled. And I understand that this isn't necessarily on a global scale, but still, guys, and I'm under the impression that most of us that are here watching this video are living in the United States. And even if you're not, and you're watching this content, we can all learn from this material. We can all learn from this, because it is a global phenomenon. It is. It's happening on a global scale. Not going after what we want seems like not such a big deal, because again, there's rationing lies to yourself. It's process of rationalization. You know, you feel like you could always change your mind. You know, oh, what's the big deal about this? It's not a big deal. You know, this is okay. This is okay enough. But these people, these individuals, do not understand the law of sacrifice. They don't understand the law of sacrifice. And this has to do with the settling mentality, the mentality of settling for less than you know that you deserve. Many of us are in that process all the time, and we're settling in our happiness, health, wealth. We're settling for the quality of our body We're not willing to act different and be different. We're not willing to create these new habits for ourselves, these new positive habits that would obviously create a different quality of life. You must be able to embrace the change and be okay with the possibility of the no guarantee rule, because there's no guarantees. Okay, so back to the law of sacrifice. Law of sacrifice states that in order to receive something of a higher nature, we must first give up something of a lower nature. And many of us psych ourselves out because you don't want to lose what you have. And I totally understand that, but this is where the faith comes into play. It's where the understanding, it's where the knowledge, it's where the awareness that, okay, the awareness tells us that the statistics are real. People are living lives in which they're unfulfilled. So the change must be brought about in some form or another. Change must be applied in everyday life, in our actions and habits. Law of sacrifice. You have to understand these laws, and the law of sacrifice states that in order to receive something of a higher nature, you must first give up that of a lower nature, whether that's that current job. I'm not telling you to leave your current job, but I'm saying, and I'm not telling you to leave your current relationship, but the statistics aren't lying. And again, the rationalization process will work in you. And it's by work of the ego too, because the ego doesn't want to lose. Ego wants to hold on to everything. It wants to hold on to that power that it believes it has. So bear with me just for a second, because it is a cigar night. So we talked about number 3. We've made a habit of playing it safe. If you're playing it safe, you're probably not going to... Everything that you're getting and receiving in life, that's not going to change until your pattern of thought and your pattern of how you feel, which dictates our actions, and our actions dictate what we attract. It's how we feel. How we feel, we attract more of. So if you have a negative pattern of behavior and thinking, if you're finding yourself in this pattern of negative thinking and you're feeling bad most of the time, you're going to attract more of the same until you change it, period. So you made a habit of playing it safe. The most dangerous thing, and I actually put a star next to number 3, that is arguably the most important. These are in no order of importance, by the way, but this is arguably the most important. But they're all very crucial to understand. So moving on to number 4. Number 4 is we lack the awareness. Number 4 is we lack the awareness. Now, what does that mean? It means that we don't seek the knowledge necessary in order to succeed on a greater level. We don't study the laws. We don't study the law of cause and effect. We don't study the law of sacrifice. We don't really study and understand the law of vibration, the law of attraction, the law of giving, the law of receiving. We don't study. Most of us don't study these laws. So number 4, we simply lack the awareness necessary to succeed. Also, I wrote down here that you're not picking up on what works for you, because we find patterns. If you hold steadfast in a direction of like, I've decided that I want to attract to me my soulmate. Well, first you have to understand what a soulmate is. You have to understand from a mentality perspective, what does it mean? You have to really understand these principles on a deeper level in order to set forth in life and make this drastic change. Because most of it is going to come from a drastic change. I already talked about it. If you keep doing what you've always done, you're going to keep getting what you've always got. So you're not picking up on what works for you, what works best for you, and you lack the awareness, because, or else you'd be putting all of your time, effort, and energy into that direction, and into the direction of You're going to put all your focus and attention on what's working for you. So if you say you want this, find out what works. What venues are you going to? If you're going out to attract people, are you trying too hard? Is that working for you? If it doesn't work, cut it off. Put all of your time, effort, and attention into what is working for you. And this isn't always easy to understand, but number 4, we lack the awareness. So if you want something different, you're going to have to shift your awareness. You absolutely have to shift your awareness. And finally, number 5, you simply have no motivation. There's no motivation. You can't seem to find reasons to even try. And usually that comes from that rationalization process. Oh, what's the big deal? Even if I do step out and try this, what's the real change? The real change is having a completely different life, one that you're actually proud of. One that you do have a deep, deep, deep sense of fulfillment down here in. So we're going to begin wrapping this video up. It's already coming up. It's already actually past 20 minutes. So I'm going to wrap this one up. Number 5, you have no motivation. You lack the inner desire. And again, that comes from being comfortable. You're comfortable getting those lousy results. You can be completely comfortable in a toxic relationship. I was for many years. I'm speaking from experience in all these areas, guys. And by way of faith, taking a leap of faith and understanding myself more in my value. Once you understand your value and work on the self-image, I talked about our self-image comes from the thoughts and feelings that we entertain on a regular basis, on a consistent basis. But once you understand and your self-image is drastically improved for the positive, you won't be willing to accept less than what you know that you deserve. So that is a beautiful process. It is. And that's funny because lastly on the no motivation, you have no belief in the process. You have to understand the laws. You have to understand that what you give out will return back to itself back to you in time. It's understanding the law of rhythm. So if it's bad for you right now, it doesn't mean that's always going to be bad for you. But if you're settling within that mediocrity, then it might possibly not turn around. It's very possible. And it didn't for me for many years in certain relationships I placed myself in that I allowed, certain jobs that I placed myself in that I knew I wasn't supposed to be there. And you branch out on faith. You create a new definite purpose. That's really what it's all about. You create a new definite purpose. You go after what you really want in your happiness, health, wealth, finances, career, and relationships. All of these areas. Write out goals. Write out goals, write out dreams, write out your aspirations, and then you attain the knowledge. You work on your awareness. You work on your feelings. You work on your vibration. Because whatever we feel on a regular, consistent basis, we attract more of into our life. So yeah, that's a fact. That less than 20% of Americans claim that they're fulfilled. So that about wraps up this video. I didn't want to make it too long, but I'm going to go over the 5 reasons one more time. The 5 reasons why we don't go after what we want. Number 1, we're scared to stand out. It's the fear of judgment, fear of what others will think. Number 2, we think it's not going to work. We have predetermined notions in our head that even if I do step out, it's not going to work. Well, there you go, self-fulfilling prophecy. If you think it's not going to work, then it's not going to work. It's the belief. It's our repeated thoughts. It's the pattern of behavior that we're conditioning ourselves to live in that really governs everything that we see in life. Our circumstances, situations, experiences, events that we find ourselves in. It's all governed by the law of vibration and the law of attraction. You must understand all these laws, the law of sacrifice. Number 3, we've made a consistent habit of playing it safe. Like I said, that all stems from our ignorance, because if we're living in a state of ignorance and we don't understand these laws of the universe that are working regardless of whether we like it or not, if you're not willing to risk, then you're not ever going to have the possibility of those greater rewards. if you're not willing to give up in order to go up, so to speak, you're never going to attain more. Number 4, we lack the awareness. You have to attain the knowledge. You have to study these rules. You have to study these laws. You have to pick up on what's working for you and what's not working for you. And then once you find out what is working for you, once you decide on this definite purpose and your true desires, then you place all your focus, all your attention on what is working. And then you give no attention to what isn't. You place all of your focus onto what is working. And lastly, number 5, you simply have no motivation. There's no motivation. There's no motivation to change. You can't seem to find reasons to. Well, Mike, I don't see what this could bring me. It'd bring you happiness. It'd bring you fulfillment. But some people are so trapped in their own way of thinking that they think, oh, it's not going to bring me any more fulfillment. Well, we become what we think about most, so that's going to perpetuate into a self-fulfilling prophecy. I know I'm talking a whole lot on this video, but this information is invaluable, and we must study these laws. No motivation. You have no belief in the process. You lack the awareness and you lack the understanding that you are unfulfilled in certain areas of your life. And if you are to live a different life and lead a different life, you have to redefine your purpose here on earth. And you have to go after what you really want. You find what's working. And then you do find out what's working. And then you place all of your time and energy and attention into that. And then you just keep doing that. You keep on doing it. And if you have to redefine your goals and purpose in time, then do that. That's fine. That's natural. But guys, just understand everything I've said in this video. 5 reasons why we don't go after what we want. Many of us are living unfulfilled lives. But in order to attract something different, we must first become different. We must first be different.